Good afternoon, folks. Chief Meteorologist Nick Lilia here with a look at your tropical update for June 24th of 2019. Brought to you by the good folks at Pine Belt Gutters. Big thanks to them for helping us out with these. More good news today. It's still pretty inactive out there. Of course, we're a long way from the peak of hurricane season. We're hanging out, in late June, so we're all the way down here. Tropical activity really ramps up as we head through August and into September. Generally, for us at least, July tends to be reasonably inactive. You can see that here on the graph, showing that the beginning to middle to even the end of July, not that much happening, although toward the end of July, stuff does start to pick up quite a bit. But yeah, the real peak, September 10th. For now, we look into the Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico. I'll point at the right things eventually. Just off of the east coast of the United States, the arrows kind of signifying where these storms tend to go. Most of them lift to the north and then kind of peel back around to the northeast and eventually off to the east and kind of get pulled back out into the Atlantic. Into July, things shift a little bit. Then we start to get the westerlies really going and stuff rides into the Gulf of Mexico or rides up the east coast. We lose kind of the bullseye a little bit closer to home because we stop getting fronts through here. However, we do open the door for stuff a little further out to sea. Right now, you can see one of these little systems is getting kind of dragged into the Gulf of Mexico right now. I will say we're not concerned about development quite yet, or probably ever. But that is the reason that we end up kind of having a bullseye into the eastern Caribbean. Looking out into the open Atlantic, not really much going on. It's showers and thunderstorm activity down into the Caribbean. Most of that's pretty sheared. A little frontal system out into the open Atlantic off the coast of Africa. You can see we do have a couple clusters, but for the most part, once they get off the coast, they really do fall apart. There's a lot of dry air moving across parts of the Atlantic right now. That's highlighted by our 700 millibar moisture, 850 vorticity map. All the grayed out areas, that's where you've got all the dry air in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. A lot of Saharan dust moving our direction the next couple of days. We do finally get some not as dry air across the parts of the Gulf, but that gets swallowed up very quickly by more dry air that comes pile driving our direction as we head into the weekend and into the beginning of next week. Should set the area up for some pretty nice sunsets. It also does a pretty good job. I mean, look at all the dry air. It goes from the Gulf of Mexico all the way out into the Caribbean, all the way out into the open Atlantic. Pretty incredible stuff. But the dust, it does set us up around here and most of the Gulf Coast with some pretty decent sunsets. That's the bonus. Nice sunsets and no tropical activity. Yay, dust. Anyway, that's a look at your tropical update for June 24th of 2019, brought to you by the good folks at Pine Belt Gutters.